Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Matt, we were talking about it a little earlier, that prediction market Kalshi is partnering with Elon Musk's XAI to bring Grok to prediction markets, according to a post by XAI. We're going to bring in Kalshi CEO Tarek Mansour to talk a little bit more about this change you're seeing in prediction markets. Tarek, good to see you again. I'm wondering what AI is going to do to prediction markets moving forward, particularly because you've seen them taking off so much since the election and then some.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. We're excited to be here. Well, I think AI is one of the things that maybe the only thing that's growing faster than prediction markets today. So, we're obviously incorporating AI in many ways. As you see, we've done two. I would say two of the leading commercials that were sort of AI-first commercials over the last few months. You may have seen one or two of them, and I have seen sort of an explosion of the use of AI across marketing after this sort of first Kalshi AI commercial. So we're very excited about the use of the technology, what it could mean to marketing teams, and how it could make sort of teams more efficient across the board. And obviously the prediction markets AI intersects could be very interesting going forward in the future.
Prediction markets have certainly been interesting for retail investors who are looking to put their money back based on where their expectations are. But I'm also hearing more and more from Wall Street as well. A little bit earlier in the year, I was talking to Boaz Weinstein, who has been using prediction markets to inform some of the ways he's thinking about putting trades on. How much are you talking to institutional investors, hedge funds, and other large investors in terms of how they're using your platform and maybe even putting much larger dollars to work?
It's funny because when I tell people about the story of Kalshi, the genesis of Kalshi is I spent time at Goldman Sachs, and at the time it's 2016, that summer, and at the time most of the demand that was coming from institutional investors was actually, can we put a trade on Brexit or hedge against Brexit, or can we take a position on Trump or hedge against Trump? So it was very simple. Like, institutions like retail, they think in normal human terms, like what will happen in the future, and let me figure out how to make money off of it or trade on it. But the problem is, for example, we told people you should short the S&P if Trump wins, and then they were right about Trump winning, but then the S&P rallied, so they lost money. So that was the idea when we really created prediction markets 6 years ago. So we started a company in 2018, and when we came up with the idea, it was basically this idea of there's a financial market for all these different things, except for the one thing that people care most about, which is questions about the future. So how about we build that financial market for them to take direct exposure to all these different questions? And our approach has always been the most important thing to do first is to legalize prediction markets. So Kalshi, what we did is we created the category, then we legalized it first and foremost. And there's a long history that we had with the government, to going through the process for years and then suing the government to open the asset class wide open, which has finally enabled us to achieve the vision of being able to attract institutions and for people to take this credibly and seriously. And we're very, very excited about that. We're seeing a ton of demand going forward.
How do you pick, Tarek, the things that people can bet on? You've had contracts on, the Pope obviously was an important one, but recently you've had, a market in whether or not the CEO of Astronomer would resign after the Coldplay Kiss Cam incident. How do you find these things and choose to put them up?
Well, the interesting thing, the way I think about it is, prediction markets are a financial market for any questions about the future, right? And if you think about it that way, you just have to figure out what are the most pressing, interesting, important questions about the future that we have today, this week, this month. And that's really kind of how we generate these questions. So on that day, obviously, the Astronomer CEO went absolutely viral. And the number one question that people were asking on social was, is he going to stick around or is he going to get fired? And so we sprinted and we listed it. And that market was absolutely explosive. We've seen something like 50 million impressions on that market. And a lot of people made a lot of money, trading and forecasting whether he was going to get ousted. And this is important for Wall Street, right? Whether he was going to stick around or be gone, that's, going to have a huge impact on the valuation of the company. And a lot of people are positioned in that company. So it really is about what our customers want, what our users are suggesting, and what's viral and trending on any given week.
What are some of the most surprising big volume bets that you've seen, Tarek? I mean, it's such a wide range of issues, right? tell us about the volumes of some of these things. Like, how much were people betting on the astronomer CEO's resignation, and what are some of the ones that have surprised you?
You know, it's funny because the history is sort of, we won the lawsuit in October, and then we launched the election market. So it was the first time that prediction markets were fully legalized in the U.S., including elections. And then, you may remember our numbers completely skyrocketed during the election month, right? So October, November, we were number one on the App Store. We had 500 million unique site visitors. We're pretty much kind of the largest website on the planet for a few hours on election night. And then people had the questions like, is this done? Is this going to kind of go away after the election? And, we're extremely proud to announce that this June, actually last month, we had more volume than election month. And so I think Kalshi did something here, which is, after we've legalized and opened the space, but then we've also taken it mainstream, where average Americans have the Kalshi app in their hand, and they're trading on things and debating with their friends. Like, now there's a shift in mentality and shift in behavior that we've enacted with the American people, where now every time they see a headline, they see the news, they want to take action on it. They want to get informed about a market and see what's happening, the same way they did with the election. And so we see it across the board. I mentioned the Pope, the astronomer CEO is a very interesting market. Whether TikTok is going to get banned, that saga is not done. Sports has been an extremely fast-growing category on Kalshi. We're actually the fastest growing thing that has happened to sport in a decade.
Tarek, at the same time, you're watching a lot of other companies get really interested in the space and other contenders able to get a little bigger. You see Polymarket, for example, the Department of Justice ending their probe, them striking a deal to buy a derivatives exchange and clearinghouse in the U.S. market, Robinhood looking at prediction contracts as well. What does this mean for you to see that much more competition? Does it make you want to bring on more investors, do acquisitions on your own, or even sell the company at some point?
Well, it's actually very simple, right? Like, whenever you see it, this is not new to any industry. Like, we've had incredible amount of success. If you look at our volumes, if you look at our revenue trajectory, if you look at our customer base and how it's grown, it's super normal for competition to basically want to follow. And we're excited about that competition. That's amazing. It's a validation of the business model. It's a validation that the market is going to be very large and it's growing. And we have, we're squarely in the lead position with a very, very strong head start because of our unwavering commitment to build it legally, build it credibly in the U.S. And now a lot of people sort of are, trying to replicate the setup and do the same exact things that we've done over the last few years. So we're super excited about that. And we see the marketplace growing exponentially over the next few years, and we're going to keep being in the lead position.
Tarek, what are the odds that you go public?
I bet yes.
I can't bet or trade on prediction markets because I run one, but, I like that side of the trade is what I'll say.
All right, Tarek, great having you on the program. Please come in and sit at the desk with us next time you're in New York City. CEO of Kalshi there, Tarek Mansour.